So, what about emotions? They certainly feel very real, don't they? And we would certainly like to heal our emotions so that we only feel happy emotions all the time and never feel any negative emotions. But emotions are as not real as thoughts. As a matter of fact, emotions are always created by a thought. Jill Bolte Taylor, who is our neuroscientist of the day, says that a thought creates an emotion and that emotions are actually chemicals that go shooting through our body, and that we then continually reform it by thinking the same thought over and over. You keep making it happen. If you can go 90 seconds without reinstigating an emotion, then it just goes away. 90 seconds is actually a really long time if you ever sit and try to do that when you're in the midst of a really powerful emotion. But so here's a little story about another meditation technique that helped me really see that I create my emotions as well. So this is called the Mystic Rose meditation. And the way it goes is that it takes 3 whole weeks to do it. And you do it an hour a day consistently through every day for the 3 weeks, hopefully at the exact same time of the day. So you have to be relatively in control of your schedule to be able to do this. So the very first week, what you do is for a full hour, you laugh. Then the second week, what you do is for a full hour, you cry. The third week, for a full hour, every single day, you are just silent. So what happens, my story, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, it's a good thing it started out with the laughing because, I kind of consider myself to be this really happy, upbeat person. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I can laugh every day. I'm good. I got this thing, and so I sat down every day and just, just laughed and had a really good time for a whole hour. And I get to the end of the week and I'm like, I'm completely transformed now. Certainly, this is me, this wonderful, happy, dynamic. I mean, my energy, I probably lost some weight. I felt really good all week. It was a really good week. It's like, wow, this is cool. This is the real me. But then I knew the next week I was going to have to cry for a whole hour at the same time every day. And I'm like, how in the world could I even do that? But, I was gung ho. I'm like, okay, give it the good Harvard goes. Is that how they say it? So I sit down for my very first crying time and just kind of started thinking really sad thoughts. And actually they came up pretty fast and pretty easy. And I found that I was able to work myself into crying way easier than I thought I was going to be. And so a whole week, a whole hour, every single day, just working myself into sobs and tears. And I realized by the end of the week that it was literally a bottomless pit, a bottomless well. There was no way you can cry yourself completely out of sadness, because sadness is created. And so if you constantly create it, you're going to constantly have more and more and more of it. So you can imagine that it was really a relief to get to the third week where I could just sit silently during the same time every day. And looking back, I can see that, even though I kind of really identified with the laughing part of me, that was equally created during my laughing hours. And frankly, honestly, the silence was equally created. I was creating all these things. And so think about our razor of non-duality. So this means I am not the happiness because I create it, right? I am not the sadness because I can create it. And I'm not the silence either because I can sit down and make that happen as well. So with all of this, who am I then? What am I?